Alright, welcome to my first YouTube video. First off, I hate long intros. This one's already too long, but I gotta warn you, I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a professional. I'm just some guy on the internet. So please keep yourself safe. Follow all the safety procedures if you're gonna do anything like this. Also, I did some stuff in here that's really stupid that nobody should ever do. Make sure, if you're unsure, check with a mechanic. But with that, let's get on with the video. Yeah, so we're looking at the bottom of my car here because I screwed up recording the video. So now here I am doing a voiceover. The problem I had was I had this vibration in my car that felt every bit like an unbalanced wheel. And it is one of those vibrations that is strong enough you just can't ignore, nor should you, but I just couldn't seem to fix. I would get the wheels balanced, I checked the brakes, I changed the brakes because they had to be changed. I keep cleaning the brake calipers, thinking there's maybe some sort of pulsating there. Check the wheels to see if the rims were warped or dented. Check to see if the rubber was warped. Tried my winter tires. The tie rod ends and the sway link stabilizer bar links have been changed because they needed to be changed. Inspected the drive axles, just about everything, suspension, all of this stuff was fine. Even the control arms, fine. Ball joints, fine. But at like 80 kilometers to about over 100 kilometers an hour, there would just be this wobble in the steering wheel, and it would come and go, and it felt every bit like a wheel balance issue. And it was just driving me nuts. So I took a real long look at the car, jacked it up, tried to find everything. And as I was rocking the wheels around, I noticed that the engine would jiggle like it's on jello instead of motor mounts. So I decided to do a really stupid test where the car is jacked up and put the wheels in drive just to see, because I was getting pretty frustrated at this point. Yeah, I knew it was stupid, but I did anyways. Do not do this test. There's other ways you can check those mounts. And the engine just started vibrating like crazy at about those same speeds. So I quickly put that test to an end and started to look at the engine mounts. But I took a look at the transmission mount. That had a lot of micro tearing in it. It didn't have an actual tear, nothing I could see. I didn't fully take it out, but I took it out enough to see that it moved very easily. So with that, I got new parts, and in this video we're going to change them and we're going to try out the car right after. I do apologize for the lighting. It really does suck in here. This is not a shop. It's my own parking garage. Not my own. Rental unit parking garage. So the transmission mount is underneath this air box, and some of the screws are underneath this battery. So the battery has to come out. Battery tray has to come out. Air box has to come out. And of course, we have to put the engine on a jack before we start any of this. Hopefully you can see that. I'm gonna use my emergency jack. I'm gonna put a piece of wood here so we don't damage the transmission. And we're gonna lift it just a bit. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, time to take the battery out. God, my lighting sucks. All right. Now we have to remove the battery mount. I believe that's a 12 mil. And we're gonna use the drill for this one. Put it to the side. Okay, so we have these 4 12 mils. They need to come out because they are blocking that motor mount belt right there. Okay, so that just needs to wiggle. Doesn't need to fully come out. Just need to be able to reach the mount. Really wish I was a little more prepared here. A little cup for these or something. They go here today. All right, now time for the air box, which also has a computer attached to it. So it's good to disconnect the battery before touching this computer, because you never know. And they just pop out. They have these little locks here. Pull out. Okay, so airbox, 2 screws here, 10 mils. Then there is 2 clamps for the air intake and the PCV hose. Let's just take that. Wow, I can take that off by hand, surprisingly. Let's find a screwdriver. Let's just get this hose off first. There you go. There's one piece. Now we need to take off these 2 right here with the 10 mil. Nice and easy. Easy. Almost lost that. Also, there's this air intake here. It just pops off. Nothing special. Gotta put these down, sorry. It's a 2-hander. And this. So there's a little plastic seat there on the motor mount we have to change. Just takes a little force. Okay. So here we have the motor mount. Aluminum bolts here and here and here on this adapter mount. Aluminum here. And then we have 1, 2, 3, and a really tough one 4 to get down there. So we actually have to take this bracket off just to get to this bolt. I've previously loosened these in my previous diagnostic, so they're going to be a little easier to take off than before, but this last one here is probably going to be pretty tough. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, just make sure, double check again that the mount is jacked up. We're going to be very careful by removing these 2 bolts first to release the engine and transmission from the transmission mount. Quickly confirm. Give it a little twist. Now we're going to grab some 17 mils and start taking these off. Again, be very careful when you're taking these off. You don't necessarily know if all the engine load's off. Now, I want to wiggle this. I want to see if there's load off it, but I'm not putting my fingers near there because if this jack slips off, my fingers are gone. I'm going to use a screwdriver. And this wiggles pretty freely, and the engine transmission's not moving, so I feel pretty confident about that. Let's give it a side to side. Pull up. Yeah. Out they come. Now before, when I was diagnosing this little impact gun wasn't strong enough to take these off. Of course, you're supposed to torque them to spec. This is just my used car, whatever. Okay, gotta be careful with aluminum. Very easy to strip. So this is moving around way too easy. I should not be able to do this to the mount. I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of this bracket so we can get at the rest of the bolts. Okay. Do the rest by hand. Four. Okay. Get this out of here. It's data mount. So you can see, this is just way too easy. This should not be possible with so little effort to move this mount around. It's toast. Okay, so I'm gonna try to crack the hardest one first. I don't know how I'm gonna get in there, but I must. Apologies for the late. It's shipped. Or crap, I should say. Okay. Well, we want left. Lefty loosey. This is going to take some strength. Oh, of course. It is so tight in there. Maybe I could wiggle the engine out. Maybe I can lower the engine just a touch. A little more lowering. There we go. Success. All right. 1, 2. Thanks. Okay. Easy peasy. There's my other light. It's gonna be a bit tough to get that out with the socket wrench on there. Might have to tighten it back up and get it off another way. So we're gonna have to go with the smaller socket wrench, but that's okay. We broke it loose. Should be able to use the small stuff now. There we go. Hope I'm not just filming darkness. That would suck. Okay. Just take this out by hand. It's no biggie. And I'm gonna put these in my back pocket. They're pretty important. Yeah. Ooh, it's gonna piss the neighbors off. Okay, here you go. I should be wearing my earplugs. Wow, that is tight. Ooh, hot. One left. And she is out. Let's take a look at this. It's looking pretty bad there. Looks like there's a crack down the side. It's very hard to see. Probably won't show up here. But I feel like I can already wiggle this one more than the new one. And let's take a look at the new one. Okay. So I cannot move this whatsoever. Okay. It does wiggle actually. Not as much as this guy. Yeah. Okay, well, enough messing around. Let's put it back in. Okay. Let's see. Flashlight. So that hole looks pretty nasty. I don't know if you can see in there. Gonna give it some lube. Okay. Well, let's get the bolts back in. Should have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one was up top. Taking a look, making sure it's not stripped or anything. It's still pretty hot. I'm gonna give this one a little bit WD-40. It doesn't look like there's any Loctite on these, which I find surprising, because the aluminum ones down here definitely do. Not all the way in. Still want to wiggle this thing around. Get the others in. I'm gonna just go ahead and mount that there. Always hand thread which I hope I did on this one. Can't remember now. Never want to strip these. Might as well throw the car away or get somebody who knows how to tap and die. Feels a little tighter, but I can still do it by hand. Okay. Thread this one in a little more. Now the last one, it's gonna be a pain in the freaking ass. Don't lose your tools like that. The bolt is in good shape, so it should be easy to thread. It did come out by hand pretty easy. Okay, just gonna put it to righty-tighty. Now, here's the problem. I like to put all the bolts in so that the engine mount is in its happy spot. I don't want to over tighten this and have it off a little bit and then have to loosen it, whatever. But if you remember earlier, getting to this bolt is tricky. And we had to lower the engine to loosen and tighten it. So I'm gonna have to tighten this one regardless, as tight as I can make it to a spec. And then we're gonna have to raise this engine back up. So that's righty-tighty. All right. I don't trust that amount of leverage, so I'm gonna have to use the big guy. One ugga. Two uggas. Now, before we continue, we got to raise this engine back up to the happy place. In fact, I could put this on first. This will give us a better gauge as to knowing how high we need to go. None of these had Loctite on them. I'm not going to put Loctite on these. Also, last time I took these out, a lot of debris fell in here. Make sure you have some compressed air to blow these out. Got lucky this time, because did it before. And last one. And we are going to tighten this up. Righty-tighty. I don't like using the impact here too much because I'm paranoid about aluminum and cross-threading. Just gonna make these snug before I really torque on them. But I will use the impact driver just a little bit. It's not the most powerful one, so I might actually have to do it by hand still, but it did turn there a little. Come on. Just a little extra. Okay, that's good. Hey, come here. That's definitely not exactly factory spec torque, but good enough in my books. Okay, so do we need to wiggle this? So we didn't tighten these yet. And I'm gonna jack up the engine. See, we have this gap here. We'll see if it lines up before we really torque those in. There goes my flashlight. Always messing around. How we doing? Just a little more. Yeah, it doesn't line up perfectly. Might want to loosen these so we can move this around. I need my 14 mil back already. Loosen you. Loosen you. And loosen you. Hopefully this wiggles enough. I really did tighten that bottom one too much. Okay, so we have a little bit to go. I'm a little worried about that being offset a bit. I don't like that. Almost closed. It is starting to line up better. Just a few more twists. 1 and 2. 2.5. Okay, so now it's jacked up just a little too much. Okay, really important. Loctite, aluminum bolts. I don't know if you can see it, they have them. Of course, now I need a knife. Not overdo it on the locked. Oop. Always hand thread these. Don't force it. This is where you don't want to screw up. Okay. Let's see, how off are these? A little bit. A little bit. Why am I still holding this? I should put it away. Okay. Gonna use the help of a socket on this one. Again, still hand tightening. Okay, one down. I never learn, do I? Okay, other aluminum bolt needs Loctite as well. Again, don't go crazy on it. No. Loosen that up just so I can move around a bit. She's threading in fine now. Gonna just give it the gun. Okay, now we gotta tighten the rest. We gotta get our 14 mil out again. That is not a 14. This is a 14. Need a better tool bench. All right, since I don't trust the gun. Oh, she did a good job. That one, not so much. Yeah. Torque to spec, yep. That one's good. All right, that mount is back on. Now, we gotta put back the battery cover, sorry, the battery tray, the air box, and then the battery, of course. Reconnect the computer. I wanna do another vibration test. And then we're gonna change this one on this side. Actually, I'm gonna disconnect these because the computer's not in yet. I don't like that idea, plugging in the battery before the computer. It's probably fine, but you never know. It's kind of funny that the computer is hooked up to the airbox here, but I guess it makes sense. Get nice cold air running over the computer, keep it cool. So we got this little peg that goes back into the new spot mount. I don't know if you can see some wiring in the way here. Nice and easy to push in. Okay, air intake connected. I'm gonna put the mounting screws in. Okay, and you. I would love a real garage, not this parking spot. Yeah, nice and tight. Excellent. Okay, these are pretty easy. They fit only in one spot. Push in, pull down that lock. And I should have done the first one first. Oh no, did I? Come on, did I actually? I did, didn't I? And let's just let everything fall. Fine. Oh, for f***ing sakes, reset. How am I supposed to reach that? Oh my god. That's so deep in there. Ow. Okay, I pulled a Homer Simpson. Feel like Homer trying to steal crystal coal out of the vending machine. No. Ooh. Okay, patience. Patience. Come on. You're so close, Kia. Why you gotta be like that, huh? Holy shit. That's not as bad as it looks. Gotta take this out again. At least I didn't have to pull out both bolts. Back in you go. Okay. Front one. No. Back. Push in. Lock. Front. Same deal. Open that up. Boom. Pretty easy. Pretty damn easy. Okay. Now, gotta put that air tube back on for the air intake and not trip over all my tools. There you go. And you go. This one's important. That's where all the air goes in the engine. I don't want any unfiltered air going in. PCV hose. Or PCV? PVC? I can't remember. PCV. Okay. Screwdriver. Nice and tight. Same for here. Okay. There we go. That's in. This is in. Mount's in. Air box is in. Air intakes are in. Valve hose. P whatever. CV, PCV. Positive crank valve. Yeah, PCV. Okay, juice. Man, getting that flashlight out hurt so bad. Felt real stupid doing it. Thought I was gonna be stuck there all by myself. Okay. Let's get the tools off. Do another vibration test. A really, really poorly implemented vibration test. Before we do that, we gotta drop this jack. Okay, vibration test time. Don't do this. It's very dumb. It's so dumb. Okay. There we go, stupid test. Alright, last time it started shaking around 60, 70 kilometers an hour. Still shaking less, kind of. Still have another mount to go. Let's do it. So, we're gonna have to jack it up on the oil pan. God, I don't like doing that, but it's the only way. Okay. Okay. It's lifting the engine just a bit. This one's a bit tricky. Not as tricky as the other one. There's some stuff in the way, but not a whole battery or anything. It's really just this power steering fluid reservoir. And to undo these two bolts, pull it back, and we have 1, 2, 3 on the engine side, 4 here. Once that's off, the engine will be independent, and we can take off 3 bolts for the mount. I think this one might be easier to keep lit. Can use magnets here finally. Okay, so let's cut to it. 10 mil for the reservoir. Make sure it's closed tight. This one should be much easier than the transmission mount. Much easier. But I think this is the one that's really messed up. I took this off before. I was able to wiggle around the mount. Didn't think much of it. It seemed fine. Checked the transmission mount. Thought that was the main one. But it didn't wiggle that much less. The new one didn't wiggle that much less than the broken one. It still was broken. But I think this one is the real broken one, because it's, first of all, it's completely compressed in compared to its replacement, and I could not wiggle the replacement. Okay. Now, like I said, I don't want to fully take this off just yet. Also, there's a ground strip here. Gotta take that off. It's also a 10 mil. So ground strip out of the way. Out of the way. We got a few more 17s here. Let's get some better light on there. Let's got this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm gonna loosen them up each one by one. Not one all the way. Let's keep some thread on them. Let's be careful of this power steering fluid hose. Okay. So our power steering pump here, don't reef on that too much. You don't want to knock it off. It would be really upsetting. Or puncture it or whatever. Okay, sorry, you're gonna have to not see this bit. Come on. Alright, that's broken loose. Yeah. Okay. Oh, careful of that power steering. Okay, nice and easy. Now I can just thread these out. But I'm gonna loosen them just a bit. Gotta make sure that engine's jacked. So we'll take our fingers off if we're not careful. Okay. Ooh, see? It's lowering a bit. Look at that. Gotta crank up. You. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be able to do this by hand. Nice and easy. So, you couldn't really see on the camera, but it did drop when I loosened this bolt here. That's because I had to raise this a little more. And that's why we don't just start taking it off. We gotta go slow, let the engine sink. Because we might take our fingers off. And possibly strip threads on things. Okay, now I'm gonna jiggle this with something that's not my fingers. Looks like it's moving. Yeah, it's ready to come off. One bolt. Now that we trust the jack, I feel confident putting my fingers around here. Although I still don't fully trust it. I'm taking a bit of a risk. Ooh, don't you fall on me. I'd cry. Hand thread this guy out. No Loctite. Interesting. Okay, so this coupler or whatever you want to call it, I don't know the technical name for it, comes off. We need to save this. Now, there's 3, stupid motion sensor light. Come on. Apartment building life. Okay, so we got 3 14 mils that need to come off. Okay, these might be a bit tough to take off. It's really tough with this in the way. I don't really want to disconnect it. Frick you, light. Frick you. Okay. Okay, not so bad. Now we don't want to hit this, so we gotta get this at a better angle. Okay, that came off nicely. It wasn't that easy the first time, let me tell you. Gotta hand thread these off. And pop out. Now, here is the bad mount. I can move it around with my finger pretty good. I cannot do that with the new one. Plus, she is sunk. Let's check a look. Check a look. Let's check out the new one. So, new one. Cannot move. It will not frickin' move. See? This can move. No problem. Also, check out the height difference there. Something I don't know if it's because this is aftermarket says higher, or if this just popped or whatever. She sunk, and it's junk. Now, should only go in one way. That looks like the right way. And let's get that bracket back on. That's the name of the bracket, I think, hopefully. Oh boy, hopefully this lines up correctly, because that will suck. Might have to give it some encouragement. So with that, I'm gonna put these bolts back in before I put these in. And then I might have to lower the jack to actually get it into its happy place. How? These went out nicely, they should go in nicely. As you can see, this side is way easier to install. Way easier. Time to torque it to spec. Click, 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 click. Oh, with this hose in the way, freaking killing me here. Killing me, Kia. Click, click. Yeah, she's tight. I hope. Could do a longer socket just to be sure. Oh yeah, could use a little more. Yeah. Okay. Now, let's put this bad boy back on. Very cooperative. This one's gonna be the trick. If you're wondering why I'm talking so quiet, it's because I'm in a parking garage. People already think I'm crazy. Just kidding, they don't. Maybe they do, who knows. Click, 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 click. Okay, look at that, 2 mounts done, no problem. Just gotta put this power steering, oh, nope. We gotta put this ground strip back on. Okay, here I am with the final stupid test, aka the vibration test. Again, do not do this, it's very, very stupid. Okay, traction control off because it does kick in. Let's go, 60 kilometers an hour. It's not vibrating. Well, it is a little bit, but that's normal. Wow. I'm blown away. Okay, we're gonna try this stupid test one more time because I was stupid and I didn't take the jack out from underneath the engine. Okay. Third time's a charm. 40. 60. Very smooth. Very smooth indeed. Alright folks, we're back. Sorry, my battery died. I got you on this weird angle because my GoPro frame doesn't have the ability to open the battery door and charge, so I kind of have to place the GoPro in a weird way. Hopefully you can see stuff. Hopefully it's a flattering angle. I just put both the mounts on, and first impressions right out of the parking lot, holy crap, this thing feels tight, like in a good way. The amount of power, the engine doesn't rock around anymore, which I thought was just normal because, you know, the car or whatever. I didn't have a good baseline before I bought this thing used. The power goes directly to the wheels. The car doesn't rock around. It is a manual transmission. Manual transmission drivers might know what I'm talking about. Coming off the line, I kind of gave it some gas a little bit. It didn't vibrate and wobble the way I'm used to. And now I'm just going on the highway. And I should start feeling it around 90, 100 kilometers an hour, around 60 miles an hour. If I don't feel it this time, I'm going to be like over the moon. I might not express it, but shit. Okay, let's get some speed. Slow, folks, slow. Come on, out of my way. 100. Right now, there's only just a little tiny bit from the wheel. Not the steering wheel, but just I feel it in the floor. Maybe I want to get some more speed, but I'm boxed in here. Whoop, that's a bump. Gardner is not the best place to do a higher speed test. Fifth gear now, doing an undisclosed speed limit, of course. No vibrations, nothing in the steering wheel. Maybe just a little bit of wheel bounce. Maybe it's the front and back mounts, who knows. I can live with that. Now, the vibration used to get a lot worse after a hard brake. I got no one behind me. I'm just gonna slow down. Hopefully that didn't cause a traffic shock wave. No vibrations after that braking. You're all looking at the freaking rim. It's not vibrating. It feels like a new car again. Gotta get out of the way of this BMW. Still a little bit of vibration. It is an old car. Barely noticeable. I'm really happy with this. This vibration would come and go in intensity. It would kind of go away a little bit with every little thing I fixed because I think those items also had their own vibration. I cleaned my brakes like every 6 months trying to figure out the vibration. You know, switched to winter tires and still vibrated. I was going crazy. I felt like the car was trying to make me feel like I was insane. But in all those cases, I didn't consider the motor mounts because it just felt too much like a bent wheel or an unbalanced wheel. It acted exactly like it. The mounts where I got them, I tried to get them from the dealer because my dealer gives me great prices on parts. Sometimes, often cheaper than aftermarket. But the cars just get too old. They don't make the transmission mount anymore, especially in the manual. The car is rare in manual. I had to go aftermarket. All the aftermarket parts didn't have it. Searching around, getting a little worried. Sure enough, Amazon came through. They only had 2 left. Another thing about this car, I'm getting a little worried about all the rubber bushings. It is 11 years old, and they aren't making those parts anymore. At least they're harder to find. And I feel like in about 2 years, I'm going to have the rubber bushing apocalypse on this thing. So even though it's a great car, it's not even rusting. Excellent shape, drives like new. I'm really sad that it might come down to rubber, and I might have to get rid of it. But that's it. Thank you.